Alright guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm actually outside at the first duplex I bought ever, and this is the most common question I get as far as buying your first investment property, and I've had a lot of people ask me questions, so I'm just going to show you how I did this so you can do it too. It's a great way to get started, it's not overly complicated, and everyone can do it. Missing a piece of siding there, but yeah, here we are. This is a little look at it. Yeah, let's get into it. Alright guys, we are back inside. It was extremely hot and muggy out. The humidity is insane today, and I've never really felt anything like that. So, terrible, but glad to be back in the air conditioning. I'm going to break this video down into 3 sections. I think it'll make it pretty simple for people to follow. This kind of ties in with my channel because it's just a really simple first step you can take into getting into real estate investing and just having your first investment in general. It's not an over-the-top crazy step. There's no weird things going on. It's a pretty straightforward process. It's super easy and very replicatable for people to do. Me and my wife did this when we were in our early 20s. We really didn't have a ton of money at the time. So this was a great way for us to get started. I've had a lot of people ask, so I'm going to do a video on how you guys can get started doing this too. And it's a great step for anyone to take, and anyone who wants to watch, I'm more than happy to help you out and offer any advice I can. So let's get to step number 1. Alright, and part 1, I'm going to start with financing because that's what the most common question I get is, well, how did you get finance for a home loan at X age? I don't think we were in our early 20s. I can't remember what it was. So I'm only going to speak to things that I've done personally on this channel, so I can only attest to what I've done. I'm sure there's a million other strategies out there, but I did an FHA loan because we were first-time buyers and we didn't have any other loans at the time. So what that is, it's a 3.5% down loan. So if you're buying something at $200,000, you're going to bring a 3.5% down payment, which most people can come up with. It's a couple $1,000 and especially in Iowa, you get some tax credits and things like that. So it doesn't really end up being the 3.5%. Usually, it might even be a little less. So that's how we got started. The FHA loan was great for us at the time. Plenty of other options. You can do a conventional 5% down loan. Things like that, but the best place you're going to want to start for that is getting with a mortgage lender and probably a realtor, at least an investment-friendly realtor that can kind of guide you in the right direction. But the main thing you're going to want to do is get your financing in order, so if you do find a property, you're already ready to go. If you want to write an offer, and especially in the market we're in right now, there's a lot of competition for small multifamily just because people are trying to offset living costs by doing the house hack version. So well, I'd say duplexes and anything under 4 units is usually pretty tough, so just have your financing ready and kind of know what you're looking for too. So number 1 thing with financing is getting with a lender. They're going to explain to you exactly what you can afford, what they're going to pre-approve you for, so there's no questions in the future, and that's the first place I would start. Okay, now part 2 is actually finding the deal. So here's, again, what I did was I picked a city that I wanted to be in, and I said, okay, I want to be in this city, and I'm open to pretty much any area because the city we live in there's really no bad areas per se. So I was kind of open to whatever. So I'm a realtor. I don't know if I explained that on the channel before, but so I represented myself in the sale. But actually, how I found my deal was we were looking on Zillow for different places or whatever it was, and I decided to look at a for rent by owner thing. So I saw someone with a duplex over in a pretty nice part of town that I liked and thought would be an okay place to live. And a pro tip, if you're not willing to live there, you're probably not going to get other tenants in the future that are going to be good that would want to live there either. So try to pick a place that you're fine living for at least 1 year, because you do have to live in this property for the first year in order for this to work. So that's what I did. I drove by the area, I called him after that, and I said, hey, I saw you had it for rent. I didn't know, maybe in the future if you'd consider selling it. And I talked to him, and he said, well, I haven't really thought about it, but I don't know, maybe I would. So I was like, well, what do you think you'd want for it roughly? And he gave me a price, and I was like, yeah, I could probably make that work. So we set up a time to go look at it. Looked at both units. It was an up-down duplex. I don't know if you could tell in the first video there. But yeah, it was pretty trashed on the one side at least. The upstairs wasn't bad, but the downstairs was rather rough. So kind of looked at that and knew I was going to have to do some work to it. But the criteria checked all of our other boxes. But the main thing you're going to want to do when it comes to finding the deal, finding where you want to be, finding something within your budget, and finding something that's going to make money after you move out. So while you're living there, it might offset your living costs a little bit. Let's say your mortgage payment's $1,500 and you're getting $1,000 from the other side. You might still have to pay $1,500 or $500 a month towards your mortgage, and your tenant is the other $1,000. But once you move out, the idea is that that unit also rents for $1,000 or whatever it is, and then you're bringing in $2,000, and your rent's only $1,500. So that's kind of what to look for on that side of things. But yeah, that's a pretty basic idea of what I did, at least when I was looking for a property. So pick the area you like, find something that's going to make sense for the numbers, number-wise, and you'll be well on your way. All right, and part 3 is once you actually find the deal, what do you do? So this is where your realtor is going to come in, and they're going to write an offer for you, essentially. So the seller says they want $250 and you want to offer them $240. You can write up the offer for $240,000 and present that to them. And the main terms you're going to want to look for is an inspection. A lot of people do those. I don't think I did mine on my first one, but if you can get one, great. So I would always recommend doing that. And then you're going to outline like when you want to close, so the day you actually get the keys, and especially with duplexes, if you're going for the house hack route, there's some security deposit stuff you're going to want to be aware of. So just make sure your realtor outlines that in the purchase agreement, that the security deposits are going to be transferred at closing and all that good stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do from once you find the property, is just writing the offer. So I can delve into any more of these topics if you guys need, but this is a brief overview of what I did, at least, and probably the path you're going to take to get there too. So great thing, and it's a good way to start. Alright guys, so that's how I bought my first duplex, kind of the model you can use to buy your first one too. Like I said, I try to keep it extremely simple because it's not that complicated, and I know people look at real estate investing and they get kind of intimidated, but all in all, you really don't need a ton of money to get started. It's no really different than buying a house. You're just buying a duplex instead. You get experience working with tenants and things like that. So overall, I would say if you're a younger person or just a younger guy or girl or doing whatever, trying to save some money and build an investment for yourself in the future at the same time, can't really beat the duplex. I think it's time tested and a lot of people have done it, and if you hold on to that property long term, it's going to end up being great for you. Something I always think about too is instead of a reoccurring monthly investment where you have to actually put money in every month, something I like about at least my duplex that I bought is I don't have to put any more money into it every month, but my mortgage is always getting paid down, and hopefully it's always appreciating too. So it's kind of a set it and forget it investment as far as you not having to invest any more money. So let's say I kept that property for the whole 30-year term, and at the end of the 30 years I would have made $500 a month for the last 30 years, as well as having the asset totally paid off without putting any other money into it. So that's kind of the power of real estate investing, and that's why it's so great. But if you guys have any questions, or I miss anything, or it was kind of a too vague of an overview, let me know and I'll be more than happy to answer them in any way I can. But that's just what I did. Like I said, only going to speak to things I've done on this channel. So I went FHA, bought the duplex, lived there for a year, moved out, and then found a tenant. It's been great for me ever since. So can't recommend it enough. Best of luck, guys. Let me know if you get it done.